let's get ready to brawl. My goodness, it summons a bunch of guardians with it too. Oh my gosh, look at you. Hello everybody and welcome back some more FTB Skies 2. If you're wondering why I don't sound excited this time, it's because I have been excommunicated. Yes, I am no longer allowed to be a priest. You might be wondering why is that though? Well, it's because today we're joining a cult.
I don't like where this is going.
So yeah, today we are going to be going into the occultism mod. For various reasons, the biggest reason is that two things along this line, the ironically named Trinity gem and also the dimensional storage matrix, are both required for us to continue assembling the FTB pyramid. We're gonna have to dive into some very, very bad stuff, which means, as unfortunate as it is, we can't exactly call ourselves a priest anymore. We can no longer wear these robes until I repent of my sins. So that means instead of this, we are now going to have to don the cultist robes. Alrighty then. For us to start occultism, it's pretty much the same as it always is. We just need to get our hands on some demon's dream fruit, which I should have a bit of. Yeah, and is there a frog dying? Things are burning in my pits. This is not a good sign for what I'm about to do. So, minus a few texture changes, the start of occultism is really just the same. All we really need to do is just go ahead, throw down our demon's dream, and then just light it on fire, which gives us a spirit fire. Then what we can do with this is we can throw in various things to infuse them with the power of spirits. For example, throwing in diamonds gets us spirit-attuned gems. Throwing in andesite gets us other stone. Throwing in an oak sapling gets us an enchanted oak sapling. It's actually called an other sapling, but we'll get more into that later. And then we can throw in a book to get us a book of binding that is currently empty. This will be important for summoning spirits. Now back onto this tree, what we have here is what looks like a normal oak sapling. If we can go ahead and grow this baby, there we go, what looks like a very normal oak tree. But now if we eat our demon's dream fruit, we will see the truth behind this tree. Then after that, I believe, yeah, I just need to burn down some other stone and then combine our spirit-attuned gems to be able to get ourselves a spirit-attuned crystal. All of this for the rituals to come. So now having gotten our burnt other stone from smelting down the other stone, we then just need to go ahead and take ourselves 6 of these otherworld logs, throw these into our spirit fire, and then we get ourselves our otherworld ashes. We can go ahead and combine these two to get ourselves 2 impure white chalks. Then we're going to need to take one of these and then convert it into impure yellow chalk. So now we should just need to throw both of these in here, getting us our pure white chalk and our yellow chalk. These two are going to be what allows us to start our first ritual. And this also gets us a chalk brush, because what we can do with this now, we can go ahead and start inscribing with our chalks. And then we can also go ahead and just erase it if we need to. So now that we've gotten our chalks, we can now start our first ritual. But for us to do that, we're going to need special sacrificial bowls. Very evil stuff. Then, for the rituals, we're also going to need candles. Now, normally you would need special candles from occultism, but fortunately, the quest does also allow us to use regular candles. So now, we can start our first ritual to create a Crusher Demon of Foliate. This is where we could actually get multiple recipes. One of which would be to make this like special taboo book and then mix it with all sorts of awakening inks and stuff like that. But since throwing a book and quill into a spirit fire already gives an empty binding book, we can actually go ahead and do it like this. So we're just going to need to grab ourselves 4 of this blue dye, and then in the center, we can go ahead and make ourselves our foliate book. Then after combining this with our dictionary of spirits, we will have a bound foliate in here, whose name is Dracurakthir. That's a fun name. Alrighty, now for the final thing, we need to start our first ritual circle. So this one says it uses Avir's Circle Pentacle. We can go ahead and find what that is in the Dictionary of Spirits in the Pentacles tab, which should be, yeah, right here, Avir's Circle, which we can go ahead and take over here for the start of our ritual. So I can go ahead and place this here. And this one looks like it calls for just white chalk. So we can just go ahead and lace all these down. The symbols do look different in the thing with the observing That's just how it is, and it doesn't show me how many sacrificial bowls I'm gonna need, because it varies from recipe to recipe, minus the gold bowl. So we can go ahead and just put this here, and then finally, we can place down our candles. And there we go. We have the first ritual area set up and ready to go. The rest of the rituals are going to be bigger with more chalks, but it's basically just the same as this. I just place more things down, so we can skip that as we get more into it. So now what we can just go ahead and do is we can just go ahead and put down our 4 sacrificial bowls. And then for this recipe, how we summon our crusher, we're going to need to put in a silver ingot, an iron ingot, our gold ingot, and then a copper ingot. And then right here in the center, in the gold sacrificial bowl where you put the catalyst, we then put in our demon. Now this is a slow process. It will slowly burn. We can speed this up with our sacrificial bowl right here and our thing. Oh, and the texture's changed again. Oh, yeah, the foliate appears to have gone through a few different texture changes. But I mean, I guess it makes sense given the more recent stuff. But there we go. Now we have ourselves our crusher. What he will do, if I go ahead and grab myself some end stone, I can go ahead and throw this to him. He will then start to crush it down.
2,000 years later.
Now we've gotten ourselves our crushed end stone, which does give us another impure chalk, because now we're going to need to get ourselves a purple chalk, which is basically the same, just with this crushed end stone and some obsidian. So now with our impure purple chalk, we can go ahead and throw that in, giving us our regular old purple chalk, which didn't. Why did this not work?
20 minutes later.
Okay, I'm an idiot. I needed to submit my chalk, because then it gets me a unbreaking 3 purple chalk. Oh my gosh. Okay, so there we go. Now we have ourselves the purple chalk. Now here's what's going to happen. This is now going to start leading us into other different rituals to allow us to start trying to get different chalks, because there are more that we're going to need to get, because now we could also get a lime one, and then we could also get a light gray one. These are both new, but they also are kind of basically the same purposes as before. And they just lead to more ritual circles, which we've already established how to get. It's just some of them are a little bit different. So here's what I'm going to do. Since all of this is really just some more of this traversing for more of this stuff, I'm going to go ahead, gather up all of these new chalks, and we will be right back.
Later.
Alrighty, I got the 2 new chalks, the lime and light gray, and with these, I was able to make 2 new pentacles. One right here, which uses our grays and our greens and all sorts of that. And then this one here, which also uses them. I also discovered something though, which has me a bit intrigued and concerned. If we look at here in this one, at the sacrificial bowl, underneath it says current pentacle as Vista's spectral compulsion and Strieger's higher binding. Which made me realize that these guys aren't just higher tier ones. If we go ahead and open up this book and look through these are active upgrades to the previous ones, meaning that the previous rituals from the earlier ones would still work. So ones that would need as Vistas would still work even if I use this one, which means these are going to get bigger. My island may not be big enough. I think it'll be fine. But yeah, that's just a little note of concern. So now that we've gotten these 2 new ones, we can go ahead and do something very special with them. This one right here, I was able to use to get myself some gray paste. It needed a new book though, called the Binding Djinn, and also just a bunch of other things that I had. Now for us to get a binding, it's actually genie, but I keep mixing it up. We just need to use purple dye. Now we need to get something for this next one, so that way we can get the things we need for the orange chalk, because this is literally it for the next chalk, because we need a gray chalk and an orange chalk. For us to get the orange one though, we need to get something called cursed honey. It is actually a very simple recipe. We just need to go ahead and then put down a bunch of honey related things right here, and then we can go ahead and put in our genie book. But oh no, the particles are grayed out. They're not purple like they're supposed to be. And we can see right here, Perform sacrifice of chicken. I don't exactly have any chickens on me, but thanks to the countless amounts of eggs that I have acquired in here, we should be able to make something happen. Yep, and then if we kill it, that should work. There we go. And also, these eggs that I have in my inventory may or may not be the ones I laid, so I may have just murdered my child. But it's fine. So we're doing evil things anyways. Child sacrifice is normal. So there we go. Now we have ourselves a possessed bee. Now what we need to do is kill it. And we get ourselves our cursed honey. So we go ahead and get that. We got our impure orange. We can also go ahead and get ourselves our impure gray chalk, which we can then go ahead and throw in our spirit fire like everything else, unlocking more stuff. Normally what we would do with this is we would then make another pentacle to summon an Afrit to kill it for its essences. But since there's a bunch of those that have spawners and trial spawners in this mod pack, we've already actually gotten a buttload of Afrit essence. So now I can go ahead and make myself the red chalk. There we go. That is 3 different chalks already and raring to go. Now, here is the thing. When it comes to this, it's just going to be a bunch more making more pentacles to get more chalk because, yeah, oh, this is actually going to be one of the things I'm going to need for the spirit gem. So this one needs Severas. By looking in this, Severas, the one that I need, is actually an upgrade to this one right here. So if I go ahead and put that there, we should hopefully already have everything else that we would need for it, unless it like changed some things out in the middle. Okay, so it turns out there actually was something that was wrong with the original one that we did have to replace out after putting everything else down. But it's very hard to see, but we actually need to put in our gray chalk. And oh my gosh, is that so hard to see. Alrighty, I got everything for this. So now, I do not believe this one requires a sacrifice. It does not. So now, we should be able to just go ahead and speed this baby up. Otherwise, it would take forever. And then we should get ourselves our withered dust. As I'm going to need some more of this later, I'm gonna go ahead and replicate some now. This is where this is actually going to change and finally get into something a bit more interesting. Our next thing we're going to need is some Myrid essence. For us to get Myrid essence, we're gonna need to do a bit of a battle. For this, we're gonna need Tibira's attraction. And it's not so big that it's gonna start conflicting with the other stuff. That is good. Alrighty, just gotta put down this last red chalk. And there we go. Hopefully the largest this pentacle will get. Otherwise, I'm gonna have to do that all over again, and I'm not looking forward to that. So, we should be able to just go ahead and do this and summon ourselves our ritual. So it said, use the item trident. So do I just throw it in? Okay, that apparently was it. Let's get ready to brawl. Oh my goodness, it summons a bunch of guardians with it too. Oh, that is awesome. Okay, wait, let's go ahead and deal with you. Deal with you. Do not deal with you. Oh my gosh, look at you. Oh, you're so pretty. Don't attack the wandering trader. What's wrong with you? There we go, though. We are also going to need this for the golden gem. Or not the gold gem, the trinity gem. So we are going to need to go ahead and replicate this once again. But this will also help us with getting ourselves our blue chalk. That should be the last of the mainline chalks. We no longer need to get more, except for the fact that we need to get more. Because now that we have this final chalk, we can now branch off to be able to get new chalks for the final pentacle that we are going to need. Now, for this final pentacle, this boy doesn't use any of the chalks that we have used thus far. All of these ones that I have gained are going to be completely useless when it comes to this. We're just going to need to go ahead and then use all of what we have learned to make completely irrelevant chalks. So for us to get these two, we're going to need to get ourselves Sphinx's inverted tower. So let me go ahead and fix all of this. That way we can then continue on. There is also another pentacle that I am going to need for this guy, but I'm going to go ahead and assemble that one too. Actually, I might I already have that one.
Much later.
Alrighty, so I've learned a few things. Firstly, I did need to upgrade a few of our pentacles. So now we have this one up at Otis Open Convention, whatever level. And we also moved this one from over there to over here. So that way we could actually upgrade this one to its maximum level. And I actually discovered something. Apparently, you can actually use the cut paste gadget on the pentacles, and it'll still take up the chalk glyphs, and we can just move these places however we want to make adjustments in case we need to make things bigger, which we did. So now that we've gotten all these things over here, there's a few things we need to do. Firstly, we're going to need to summon a new Crusher Spirit, because for us to get our Cyan Chalk, one of the new ones we're gonna need, we're gonna need to crush down Echo Shards, which can only work at the Myriad level. Now, for us to summon this, we're gonna need a block of Emerald, a block of Diamond, a Ghast Tear, a block of Netherite, and our Bound Myriad book. But we don't actually need this silver. No. We need something from this silver. For us to get that, though, we need to go ahead and head on over to our Weeping Well. We can just go ahead and throw this in here. And then what'll happen is it should spit it out. There it is, giving us Icenium. So now that I got that, we can go ahead and start up the ritual. This one shouldn't need a catalyst. So now we can just go ahead and speed this baby up so that way it'll go very fast. So that way we can get ourselves the very fast crusher, Mad Lorifear. So now we should be able to just go ahead and hand him the Echo Shard. And sorry, you have a brother now. I'll probably use him for more crushings, but oh my goodness, and there we go. I will also need one of these for the Trinity gem. But then in terms of the Impure Cyan Chalk, we just need an Icenium Dust, and then also a Glow Ink Sac, which I can get very easily. Now for the Magenta Chalk, I can actually just do this one off screen, because what this one is, it's just gonna be some Amethyst Dust, which we can go ahead and do more crushings. And then also this Dragonist Dust, which is something we're gonna need for the gem, but really it's just gonna take some end crystals, some more amethyst gems, a crushed endstone, and some more dragon's breath over in this one right here. I can do that one off screen on my own time. That one's not as important. What is gonna be a bit more important is going to be getting ourselves this one right here, so that way we can open up the door to some of the other chalks. We're gonna need demon meat. For us to get that, we need this guy. No, we needed this one. That's why I upgraded this one. And for us to get this, we're gonna need to do a little ritual and sacrifice some pigs. We're just gonna need the nether mushrooms, a gilded blackstone, and a nether quartz with an aphrit.
5 minutes later.
Alrighty, I should have everything, so now we should just need to go ahead and put this in. And now, I just need to go ahead and summon a pig, sacrifice it, and there we go. Now the next ritual is completed, giving us a possessed pigman, which I can go ahead and kill, giving us our demonic meat. So now with that, we can go ahead and get the pink chalk. Then we'll also be able to get ourselves a light blue chalk with just some more crushed things. We'll also be able to get ourselves a green chalk by doing a whole other ritual, which I'm pretty sure I should have. Then we're just going to need to go ahead and get ourselves our magenta chalk. The brown chalk is going to be up to something that I'm going to have to tackle in a bit, because that is also going to be another maximum level 1 that I'm not looking forward to doing. So I'm going to go ahead and get all that set up off screen.
Much later.
Alrighty, I got all of the impure chalk, so now we can just go ahead and throw all of these into here. And that completes all but one of our chalk quests. The only thing left that we need, the brown chalk, requires our cruelty essence, which is one thing that I'm also going to need for the Trinity gem. Now for this baby, I've already gotten everything set up. We needed to max out this pentacle as well, so I needed to do some more finagling with things, and now it looks even more like ritual grounds. Like, look at this. Like, oh my gosh. Does this look freaking evil? That is a thumbnail shot right there. I might not use that. I might use that. We will see what happens. So all that's left for us to do is put in a Myriad thing. And now, this is where this gets incredibly evil. For us to pull this one off, we must partake in Inhuman sacrifice. Thank you, game. Oh my gosh. But there we go. That should be all of that done. So now, once this is done, we will summon the most evil creature. The goat. A one-horned goat. It is angry, and it must die for us to gain the cruelty essence. Oh my goodness. And that gets us a little bit more cruelty essence as well. That should be more than enough for us to be able to make ourselves our Trinity gem. So now we go ahead and add this to our roster, which gives us the final chalk. All of the chalks have been assembled. We now have everything we need. It is just down to this. The final pentacle. Ranaza's contact. Alrighty, the moment of truth. I've managed to move things in a way that makes it fit. Behold, the final pentacle, shaped like a little star. With this, we can finally get ourselves our Trinity gem. But for us to get that, we're first going to need to get ourselves an empty soul gem. Now, this is very cheap, and I believe it's actually made in both the same pentacle with this and its previous one, which is get a fragile soul gem. Alrighty, for the last 3 rituals, here we go. We just got to go ahead and be very careful when going and throwing this stuff in here. There we go. That should then be our fragile soul gem, which we can go ahead and just wait for it to be made. There we go, and that's also going to be an ingredient on this list. As now, we can go ahead and very carefully place these things in, especially when we get to the soul sand. Because if we do this wrong, we could end up getting something else going in here, and we don't want doing that. Okay, there we go. Now, we've got our soul gem being crafted. So now we can go ahead, get all that ready, and there we go. It is now time for the final ritual. We put our cruelty essence, our Marit essence, echo dust, dragon dust, witherite essence, and then our icenium dusts all throughout. Ah, I was missing something, because we're also going to need our Aphrid essence. There we go, because I knew I put enough sacrificial bowls. And then our catalyst is our empty soul gem. And then we need one more sacrifice. We don't need you anymore, friend. So if you're not going to be useful in life, you might as well be useful in death. There we go. And then with this, we will go ahead and then combine all these things together for, actually, I realized, the second to last ritual, because we are still going to need to do one more after this for something else. Oh my goodness, here we go. It's still not fast enough, though. It is so freaking slow. It is so slow. Alrighty. And here it is. We have now acquired the Trinity gem. And then I also realized that the real last one that I was going to need to do was actually going to be for this thing, the dimensional crystal matrix. Fortunately, that one is incredibly easy, as all we need to do is just go ahead and put in 3 blocks of quartz and 1 ender pearl right over here. And then with a book of genie, we should then be able to get ourselves our matrix. Now, what this thing would normally be for is this guy would help us to be able to get a whole storage system that we can use with occultism. And it's actually a really cool storage system. I've used it before in FTB Inferno. But what we're going to need it for, a dimensional memory fragment, which we won't be able to get yet, but that is one of the ingredients for the next level of the pyramid. And as for our Trinity gem, that's also going to go into one of these, but for an evolutionary arcana. But that is for a later date. For right now, there is something that I must do. I must repent for my sins. Father. Sorry. And just like that, yay! I can be a priest again! We don't ever have to do any of that evil crap again. I should probably blow it up, but it's fine. With that, all that's left for me to do now is open up today's chance cube. Yes, it is that part of the series where I open up a chance cube, risking my entire series and all my new gems for all your entertainment. Let's go ahead and see what happens. I wasn't quick enough. That's... You know what this means, right? My prayer was answered. I've been forgiven. I don't have to worry! So do you like this video? Good. The bid to check out our last FTB Skies 2 video where we got the first layer to the FTB pyramid. Bye-bye!